Your problems are the locations of your power. Every area of your life that generates consistent pain, frustration, struggle, or limitation is a vault. Your problems are the locations of your buried treasure. And the treasure has been waiting for you this entire time. This is the treasure hunt. Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. And this is the treasure hunt. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to reclaim your power from the hologram and step into the life of your expanded self. Before we begin, I want to invite you to an amazing event that we're hosting in Maui, Hawaii on May 14th through the 17th. This will be our first 4-day event designed to shift you into your ultimate timeline. We will also have a guest, Paul Selig, will be joining us, channeling for an hour and taking questions and answers. Each time we hold one of these events, it gets better and better. It's more exciting. I continue to have people tell me it's the best experience they've ever had. I hope to see you there. Today I want to give you something that you can use immediately, a practice, a technology, a way of moving through your life that has the potential to fundamentally change your relationship with everything you've been calling your problems. This comes from Robert Scheinfeld's book, Bustin' Loose from the Money Game, and it has changed everything for me. I've been applying it for several months now. I think it's the final key to unlock the path to your future self, to open up your greatest timeline. It changes everything for me. This episode is called The Treasure Hunt. And by the time we're done, I think you're going to look at the most difficult areas of your life in a completely different way. The areas you've been trying to eliminate, transcend, solve, get past, are about to become the most valuable real estate in your entire energetic landscape. Your problems are the locations of your buried treasure. Every area of your life that generates consistent pain, frustration, struggle, or limitation is a vault. Maybe it's your debt that you have to pay. Maybe it's the repeated patterns of bickering or fighting with your partner. Maybe it's some kind of health problem that you have. Every problem, any pattern that comes up in your life is included in this. Every area of your life that generates consistent pain, frustration, struggle, or limitation is a vault. And inside each vault is a portion of your own infinite creative power you projected outward, assigned to a pattern and forgot about. The hologram repeats this pattern. The struggle is the signal, the difficulty is the map. And the treasure has been waiting for you this entire time. This is the treasure hunt. And it is the single most direct path I know of to the version of you that has already arrived on the other side of everything you are currently navigating. I want to start with the framework that most of us are operating from, because until we see it clearly, we keep trying to work within it, and the framework itself is the problem. This represents an evolution and advancement in what I'm teaching. The standard model of personal development, the law of attraction, even most spiritual teaching treats problems as obstacles, things that stand between you and the life you want, evidence of misalignment, of limited thinking, of unresolved vibration, of wounds, the need healing before the good stuff can arrive. The prescription is always some version of eliminate the problem, fix the story around it, raise your vibration above it, transcend it, manifest past it. I've taught something similar before, and the honest result of this approach for the vast majority of dedicated, sincere, genuinely committed people who have done the work for years and decades, is that the same fundamental patterns keep reappearing. You may solve the problem, you may manifest a solution to your problem, but then it appears in another way, through another person, in another time. The money challenges change shape but return. You pay off your debts and suddenly you have greater debts later on. The relation dynamics change partners but repeat. Same problems repeat themselves over and over again. The health issues shift location but persist. The creative blocks change form but stay in place. It's been my great desire to find a way to eliminate these patterns. And I've been working on hacking the subconscious mind and working with the subconscious mind to release these patterns, and in many cases it is effective at the surface level. But once the problem is resolved and the pattern reoccurs, I want to figure out a way to stop the pattern from reoccurring. And after discovering this process taught by Robert Scheinfeld, after testing it out, I really became excited about sharing this with you. And the conclusion people usually draw from this is they are failing, that they're doing it wrong, that something in them is irreparably broken or stubbornly resistant, that more effort, more technique, more discipline is the answer. That conclusion is wrong. The technique is wrong, or rather, the premise underlying the technique is wrong, because the premise says the problem is the enemy, and the premise is backwards. Now, I have definitely taught many times that the problem can become a stepping stone. This is something more than that. Here's the corrected model. Here's the architecture of what is actually happening. Your problems are the locations of your power. I'm going to say that again. Your problems are the locations of your power. Write it down. Every situation that generates consistent friction in your life is a vault that contains a fragment of your infinite creative force, a fragment that you invested in this pattern at some point in your journey for reasons that made complete sense at the time, and that has been stored there ever since. The problem is the container. Your power is the contents. And until you understand that distinction, you will keep trying to destroy the container instead of opening it. Now, behind this is the concept that you are an infinite being of power. You are God incarnate. You are infinite intelligence, embodied temporarily in this simulation or hologram. The treasure hunt is the practice of opening the vaults, of finding every location in your holographic landscape where your power has been stored, of performing the specific acts of reclamation that bring your sovereign energy back into the unified field of your full presence. Now, the question that's asked in Bustin' Loose from the Money Game book is that the money game is designed for us to lose. We play this game, and at any point we can lose our money, and it applies to everything beyond even money. We live this life where there is constant problems, struggles, things that we have to overcome, pain, sorrow. It's a pattern. Everything's a pattern. Why would we want to experience that? When you're watching a football game, one team is blowing out the other. It's kind of boring and you turn the channel, right? But if both teams are very close, it's a tie game, it's coming to the end, there's all this tension, you're at the edge of your seat, that's exciting. It's fun. Have you ever stopped to consider that you chose to come into this life because it's fun? All these problems you're experiencing, everything that you're suffering with, it's fun for the infinite being whose normal state of existence is utter and absolute joy and bliss. The treasure hunt is the practice of opening the vaults, of finding every location in your holographic landscape where the power has been stored. And this will matter as you continue with this. Every piece of power you reclaim brings you into a deeper resonance with your future self, the future self from your ultimate timeline. as I've continued my practice of communing and merging with my future self, and I started doing this practice of reclaiming my power, they aligned so perfectly. Your future self is a version of you that you don't need to create. You don't need to imagine into, because that's not fun. If you know everything that's going to happen, you plan it all out perfectly, and then you experience it, it's not fun. That's not why you came here. You want to be surprised by the glorious, wonderful experiences that come your way. The first step of this is that you give away your power, one step at a time. But as you regain your power, you begin to become your highest expression. To work effectively with the treasure hunt, you have to genuinely understand where you are. And where you are is inside a hologram. Stephen Hawking, at the time of his death, conceptualized the universe as a hologram. Based on the math, based on the physics, that was his strongest belief. Now, I know the word carries a lot of different associations depending on who you've been listening to, so let me give you the clean version. Physical reality is a projected experience of consciousness. The material world, the one that feels solid, persistent, objectively existing, is actually a rendering. A high-resolution, fully sensory, emotionally immersive rendering of information that exists at its foundation as energy, frequency, and field. What you see is downstream, consciousness is upstream. Matter is organized by awareness, generated by awareness, sustained by awareness. What's even more interesting, it's possible that this hologram is projected from a black hole, and that each black hole contains within it a projected hologram of a universe. Some conceptualize that each black hole contains the information of the previous universe, projecting a new hologram. And the thing about a hologram is every part of the hologram contains all of the information for the whole. And if you understand this, then all the information of the universe is contained within you. This stands on the foundation of rigorous science. David Bohm, one of the most careful physicists of the 20th century, described physical reality as a projection from an underlying implicate order, an invisible field of enfolded information from which the explicit visible world unfolds. Max Planck, the founder of quantum theory, said that consciousness is the ground of all being and that matter derives from it. The simulation hypothesis, the idea that reality is a form of information processing that resembles what we now call computation, is a serious framework debated at the highest levels of theoretical physics and cosmology. In every major tradition of consciousness wisdom, Vedanta, Kabbalah, Buddhism, Gnosticism, the Hermetic traditions, the shamanic lineages that predate all of these arrived at the same conclusion through direct investigation. The world you see is a rendering. Real in the way that a dream is real while you inhabit it, but generated by something deeper, rooted in a field of pure creative potential that has no fixed form, no limitation, no ceiling. Now here's what this means for your specific, personal, right now problems. If physical reality is a holographic rendering of consciousness, then your problems are holographic structures. They are constructed from your consciousness specifically, because you are the center of the hologram you experience. They carry the experience of solidity. They have enormous emotional gravity. They generate real physical symptoms in the body, real consequences in the external world, real effects on the people and circumstances around you. They are mutable, because anything built from consciousness can be dissolved, transformed, or reabsorbed by consciousness. You are the generator of this hologram. You are the author, the architect, the underlying creative intelligence from which this particular rendering emerges. You're a passenger in absolutely zero ways. You are co-creating every moment of this experience, including the moments of greatest difficulty, including the patterns that have felt most immovable and most fixed. This means you hold the key to every vault in the landscape, every single one. The treasure hunt is the deliberate, systematic, compassionate process of using that key. Now, if this is true, if you're in a hologram, whatever you're experiencing on one level is just an illusion. It's not real. It's something that you created. You created for yourself to experience the contrast, to experience the struggle. Don't presume to understand why, but the hologram is so sophisticated, so wonderful, so elaborate, that you have the most vivid, powerful experiences that you could never have when in a state of absolute bliss and joy. Let's get precise about the mechanism, because precision is what makes this practice work rather than just feel inspiring for an afternoon and then fade. At some point in the development of your consciousness, in this lifetime, in earlier configurations of your awareness, or as part of the architecture you designed before entering this game, you encountered experiences that exceed your available capacity to process and integrate. Moments of pain, betrayal, loss, confusion, shame, terror, grief. Moments where the intensity of the experience was greater than the resources you had available to metabolize it. In those moments, the psyche does something extraordinary, something genuinely intelligent and genuinely caring. It takes the unprocessed energy of that experience, the raw, alive, unintegrated power of what happened, from you, an all-powerful being, and it packages it. It constructs a protective structure around that energy, stores it in an accessible location in the architecture of your consciousness, and marks it for later processing when you have more resources, more wisdom, more capacity to work with it safely. This is the original purpose of the vault, a protective structure, a holding mechanism, consciousness saying, this is too much right now, but I refuse to abandon it. I'm keeping this safe until the time arrives. The issue arises in what happens next, because the time very rarely seems to arrive. The vaults accumulate. Each new experience that echoes the original wound bypasses the vault rather than opening it. It adds to it. The energy of each encounter with the pattern gets projected into the structure, reinforcing it, making it denser, giving it more gravitational pull in the field of your awareness. Over time, these structures become so dense, so charged, so electrically present. In the background of your consciousness, they begin to organize your experience from below the threshold of your conscious awareness, and they have your power, which means they can continually run as patterns in the hologram. They run patterns that become programs you never consciously installed. They generate perceptions and reactions and choices that feel automatic, inevitable, simply the way you are. They construct the invisible ceiling on your financial life, the one that says you can only make so much no matter how much you attempt to try. The invisible script in your intimate relationships, the invisible brake on your creative expression. They are running the background processes of your holographic experience, and they're running them with your power. Your own sovereign creative force is the fuel those structures operate on. Every time you encounter the pattern and feel the familiar contraction, the anxiety, the deflation, the anger, the despair, you are feeling the drain of your power being pulled toward the vault. You are feeling what it is to live with fragmented sovereignty. And the more of your power is stored in these structures, the more distance there is between you and the future self, who already lives from the wholeness that becomes available when the power returns home. And believe me, you've given away a lot of your power. You are an all-powerful being. You've given away a lot of your power. This is the direct connection between the treasure hunt and the future self work. The future self is the version of you who has already completed these reclamations. My future self brought me to this teaching to help me to understand it at the perfect time. And as I reclaimed my power, my future self became more verifiable, merging with me completely. The future self is the version of you who found the vaults, opened them, brought their power home, and now lives from the unified field of their fully recovered sovereignty. Every piece of power you reclaim does two things simultaneously. It reduces the limitation in your current experience, and it closes the resonance gap between you and that future self. You are moving toward them. They are moving towards you. The treasure hunt is what collapses the distance. Here's the practice. There are 4 movements. They build on each other in sequence. They can be worked with in meditation, in journaling, in a moment of quiet attention in the middle of the day. It's just like doing heart coherence. You can sit and do it for a minute. Whenever a problem comes up, immediately use these movements. They become faster and more fluid with repetition, and they are more powerful than they look on the first encounter. The first time I ran through this, I was just going through the motions. But when I really started to understand it, I stopped, really went into it, and it was so wonderful to see my power come back to me. Now, the first movement is declaration of power. You bring the situation into full awareness. You look at it directly without flinching, without minimizing, without rushing to make it acceptable before you have genuinely confronted it. Let it be as large as it actually feels. Let it carry its full emotional weight. Feel it completely. Then you make the declaration. The declaration can be uniquely yours. You got to figure out what's best for you. I prefer to say, I am the infinite presence and power of God embodied in this reality. I am the creator of this experience. I am infinite intelligence incarnate. I am God. Sometimes that hits perfectly for me. I can just say, I am God. I want you to play around with these different statements until you find one that you really feel like works as a declaration of your power. You can say, I am God. I am the creator of this experience. This came from me. Now, some people don't like to say I am God because of a Christian background. They're told that that's sinful. So you can say, I am infinite intelligence incarnate. Then you say, this came from me. This pattern, this structure, this vault, it is built from my consciousness. This is the foundational movement, and it is one of the most important parts of this process. And it's the one that people seem to resist. People will not acknowledge their power. They will not declare their power out loud. Because somewhere in the story of the problem, there's a version of events where you were the victim, where this was done to you, where the circumstances, the other people, the bad stuff, the bad luck, the cosmic unfairness of the situation is the explanation. The declaration of power does nothing to the factual accuracy of those events. People may have behaved badly. Circumstances may have been genuinely unjust. The pain was real. And the key, you are the consciousness within which all of that occurred. You are the generator of this hologram, which means you are the one with the power to change it. The declaration is the act of claiming the power back from the story of victimhood. It is the author stepping forward and saying, this is my work. Feel it in your body. When you say it, that feeling of something shifting, of a quiet recognition moving through the nervous system, is the power beginning to stir the vault. Now, the second movement is the proclamation of illusion. Once you have claimed authorship, you name the true nature of what you've created. You look directly at this holographic structure, this pattern, this situation, this limitation that has carried the appearance of solidity and permanence, and you speak its actual nature into the field. I see through you. You are not real. This is an illusion. And you speak this with genuine conviction when the proclamation comes from actual recognition rather than wishful thinking. Something physical happens in the nervous system. The grip of the pattern loosens. The apparent solidity of the structure becomes less convincing. The emotional charge around the situation shifts in quality, still present, but less dense, less final. This is the hologram responding to the accurate perception of its own nature. The structures in the field relax when they are genuinely seen. Just call it what it is. It's an illusion. It's not real. The third movement is appreciation. This is the movement that does the deepest work, and it's the one that generates the most resistance because it asks something that feels genuinely counterintuitive: to appreciate the thing that has caused you real harm. Now, the thing that helped me is I'm appreciating the hologram that presented this thing, and I'm appreciating how effective it is, how magnificently real it is to me. I want to spend some real time here, because if you rush past this movement or perform it rather than feeling it, the reclamation stays shallow. The vault gives you the surface layer and keeps the real treasure locked. Appreciation works because it is one of the highest frequency states available to human consciousness. Genuine appreciation, the real feeling of recognizing value in something experienced in the body, not just performed gratitude, but experienced in the body and the nervous system rather than just intellectually processed. This shifts your energetic position relative to the entire field. It moves you from contracted and defended to open and receptive, and the vault only yields to an open hand. It yields completely to the open hand of genuine appreciation. It's been waiting for exactly this gesture. It's almost like the vaults, or what Robert Scheinfeld refers to as eggs, like an egg hunt, because it's a treasure hunt. It's almost like they're conscious, holding on to your power. And the vault yields completely to the open hand of genuine appreciation. It has been waiting for exactly this gesture. Appreciation sends a signal to the hologram, to the intelligent field of consciousness generating your experience, that you have received the communication this pattern was carrying. Because every vault is a messenger. Every pattern of struggle was always attempting to deliver a message. Here's where your power lives. Come and find it. When you meet that message with genuine appreciation, the messenger has completed its purpose. The pattern that fulfilled its purpose has no reason to persist. And the deepest layer of the appreciation is this: you are recognizing the vault as the caretaker. At the moment when you projected your power into this structure, you had yet to develop the capacity to use it fully. The vault kept it safe. It held the creative force intact, undiluted, fully available through all years and all the experiences that followed, so that it could be waiting for you in exactly the state you need it when you arrive to claim it. The vault is a loyal steward of your own sovereign treasure. It deserves your genuine thanks. So you look at this thing, this financial pattern, this relationship dynamic, this health challenge, this block, this inner voice that has diminished you, and you say, with the full force of your genuine feeling, thank you. I appreciate you completely. You held something precious for me. I see what you were always doing. I receive it completely. I appreciate you completely. Sometimes you can simply say, I appreciate what this has done for me. Stay with the appreciation until it becomes real in your body. You'll feel the shift when it lands, a kind of softening around the emotional charge of the situation, a loosening of the vault's outer structure. The appreciation is the key. Let it turn all the way. The fourth movement is reclamation. You've claimed authorship. You've named the true nature of the structure. You've given genuine appreciation for it. Now you reach in and you take your power back. I will simply say, I call my power back into my body. I feel it surging in my body. That's what works for me. Each of these movements, you have to figure out exactly what works for you. This is a felt experience conducted with the attention and intention of your full consciousness. You reach into the vault, into the center of this pattern, this structure, this emotional charge with your awareness as your instrument, and you feel for what is stored there. It has a distinct quality. It is warm. It carries a specific frequency that is unmistakably yours, the signature of your own creative force, preserved exactly as it was when you first invested it here. You pull it towards you gently and completely, You feel it release from the structure that contained it. Feel the structure lose its density, its charge, its gravitational pull. And you feel the power moving back through your field and arriving in the center of your body. In your chest, your belly, your hands, a sense of expansion, a sense of increased presence and solidity, the quiet, unmistakable feeling of becoming more whole. Every time I've done this, I feel this power. Now, sometimes you have to do this over and over. Sometimes it's very difficult. You just keep doing it until you feel the power come to you. This is your power returning to its source. Register it fully. Let your nervous system record this as a memory, as a known state, as a baseline. It now knows how to find again. Because the next time you go looking for a vault, for a treasure, your system will move toward this moment as the reference point, the moment it learned what reclamation feels like. As you hold this recovered power, as you feel the wholeness of it arriving and settling into your field, notice something shifting in your awareness. Notice that the resonance is stronger. Notice that the frequency of the version of you who has already arrived at the fullness of your recovered sovereignty is closer, more available, more present. You've just closed the distance from your side. You've just become more of them, and you're leaning in from their side, recognizing this moment, pulling the signal stronger towards you. The treasure hunt is most effective when it's systematic, which means you start with a map. Your map is the honest inventory of your life, the areas of consistent friction, the patterns that have repeated across years or decades despite your efforts, the domains where the ceiling feels fixed and every attempt to break through it leaves you back at the same level. These are the vault locations. These are the sites of buried treasure. And the most important thing to understand about this is the areas that carry the most charge are the areas with the most treasure. Now every problem is fun. If you can find them, you can get your power back. It becomes fun. You search out your problems because they are treasures. The money pattern that has been following you since your 20s, the ceiling that appears in different forms with different numbers, but always seems to cap out at a familiar level. That is a vault of enormous proportions. A massive amount of your creative power has been stored there. The reclamation from that single vault alone could transform your experience of financial reality in ways you cannot predict from your current vantage point. The relationship pattern that has recreated itself across multiple partners, the emotional dynamic that changes costume but always delivers the same essential experience. That is a vault of extraordinary depth. The power stored there has been accumulating for potentially your entire adult life. The health challenge that has resisted every conventional and alternative approach. The creative block that has kept your most important work locked inside you. The inner critic whose specific flavor of self-diminishment has been with you for so long that its voice sounds like your own thoughts. Every single one of these is a location on your treasure map. Every single one is a vault your future self has already opened. Every single one is a location where your power is stored and waiting. You begin with the vault that has the most charge right now. High charge means high power. The situation that most immediately contracts your nervous system when you think about it. That is the vault with the most treasure in it. Go there first. Apply the 4 movements. Let the reclamation complete and feel what happens in your resonance with your future self when it does. You will feel it. It is unmistakable. So if you're struggling with debt, if you struggle with paying for something when you go out, if you have a hard time paying your debt, I want you to look at all of that with appreciation. Appreciate it. And then apply these principles. Continue to apply it, and you will unlock yourself from the money game. Apply this to your relationships, and you will unlock yourself from the relationship game. It is so powerful. As you continue to do this, the more and more power you bring in, you're in a state in which joy and wonder happens on a regular basis, where miracles happen, and it's glorious. And I want it so badly for you. Most of the work in this world, the law of attraction, the reality shifting and timeline jumping, future self-work, manifestation practice, is organized around one fundamental premise: that you need to create something. That the work is the work of building the life you want, of generating the conditions for what you desire. The premise is useful. It's a real technology. It produces real results. And it is a transitional stage. It is the scaffolding of a building that, once completed, the scaffolding can be removed, because here is what becomes available as you continue the treasure hunt, as you systematically reclaim your power from vault after vault, pattern after pattern. These patterns stop running. And as your resonance with your future self grows stronger and more stable and more present in your ordinary waking life, you arrive at a place where you realize the expanded self, the infinite intelligence that is the deepest layer of what you actually are, embodied in third density in this dimension. This version of you already knows exactly what is coming, has already architected the trajectory of your life with a precision and beauty and a scope that the human mind cannot begin to design. And the unknown becomes fun. You become excited, all the wonderful things that will come to you. It's already set in motion a sequence of experiences, encounters, opportunities, relationships, creations, and revelations that will take your breath away if you could see the whole map at once. And the most extraordinary thing about arriving at a deep merger with the expanded self is this: you stop needing to create your life. You stop managing the hologram. There's no need for you to imagine anymore. You stop strategizing about which timeline to collapse and which outcomes to anchor. You arrive in a state that is something like, show me, surprise me. I trust completely the intelligence that is architecting this experience. I am open to receive whatever is designed for the fullness of this consciousness. And the life that arrives, the life that infinite intelligence has always had planned for you, now unobstructed by the static of fragmented power and unresolved vaults, turns out to be more extraordinary than anything you could have consciously specified, more surprising, more beautiful, more perfectly suited to the exact frequency of your deepest nature. Every day carries the quality of a gift you were given by a version of yourself that loves you so completely it knows exactly what to give you before you knew you wanted it. That's the life on the other side of the treasure hunt. This is the destination your future self is transmitting from right now. A life where every morning you open your eyes into a day you had no hand in designing, and you feel the specific quality of joy that belongs to someone who lives in the complete trust of their own expanded intelligence. A life where surprises are glorious and challenges are interesting, and every turn of the path reveals something that the small mind could never anticipate. When I do my future self meditations, I try to align you with your higher self before we quantum jump. The version of you right now doesn't necessarily know what your greatest timeline would be, but your expanded self does. And that's what we're moving you towards. The version of you living that life is real. They exist right now in the field of parallel experience, transmitting the frequency towards you with the patience and the certainty of someone who knows beyond any possible doubt that you are arriving. You arrive by doing this work, by going on the treasure hunt, by finding the vaults, appreciating the caretakers, reclaiming the power, and allowing the recovered wholeness to bring you into a deeper and deeper merger with the version of you that already lives from that place. Every vault you open is a step toward the life that infinite intelligence already designed for you. And that life is extraordinary. It is joyful in a way that has nothing to do with circumstances and everything to do with the quality of presence you bring to each moment when you are no longer using your power to sustain the old structures. It is free in a way that transcends any specific outcome you could have wished for. It is alive. That is the treasure at the center of the hunt. That is what has been waiting for you inside every single vault. You, whole, free, joyfully surprised by your own life. Couple things that I can suggest in practicing this before I did this teaching with you. When you declare your power, really declare it, really feel into it. When you say, I am infinite intelligence, I want you to really feel it. When you declare your appreciation, I want you to find something emotionally that helps you vibrate into that appreciation. When you state that whatever this problem is, it's just an illusion, I want you to feel that. I want it to break the bonds of the reality that you've given it. And then most importantly, at the end, when you reclaim that power, I want you to feel that power flowing into you. Reach your hands out and take it. Take it from the vault. Pull that power in. Make it as visible and tangible as you possibly can. Let me leave you with this practical instruction. Make your map. Identify the 5 areas of your life that carry the most consistent friction, the patterns that have repeated, the ceilings that have persisted, the charges that still reliably contract your nervous system when you encounter them. These are vault locations. Write them down. Get excited. Go on a treasure hunt. Look at them without judgment, without the story of failure. Begin with the one that carries the most charge. Bring it into full awareness. Apply the 4 movements: declaration, proclamation, appreciation, and reclamation, and feel what happens in your body as the power comes home. And then pay attention to your future self signal in the hours and days that follow as you bring in your power. Pay attention to the quality of your resonance with the version of you who already lives from the wholeness you are reclaiming. Notice if the signal is stronger. Notice if their certainty is more available to you. Notice if the life you're moving toward feels closer, more real, more already present than it did before. Because it will be. Because it is. The treasure hunt is real. Your power is real. Your future self is real and transmitting and waiting for you to arrive. And you are arriving one vault at a time, one reclamation at a time, one step closer to the life that infinite intelligence already designed for the fullest possible expression of who you already are. Okay, before I go, I want to invite you to join the Reality Revolution community at school.com, skool.com/Reality Revolution. You will find exclusive content, weekly coaching sessions, and so much more. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.